Thank you all for being here. Good morning and happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well. I want to talk to you about a few things. You might remember that Congress, the Democrats, were charging different members of the Trump team with contempt of Congress. You normally never see anything like this. They were trying to get members of the Trump team, the former Trump advisors and so on, to testify before Congress in the, what I would say, utterly sham J6 committee because they were doctoring evidence, they were removing audio from videos, they were taking false testimony. It was a clown show. It was a total circus act, and then they destroyed the evidence afterwards anyways. You know what I mean? They destroy the evidence so that through subpoena process, others who are facing charges, ironically based on some of their own accusations and recommendations for legal action, can no longer get the evidence, that was used to create the false narratives. They deleted it. They destroyed it. But you have a lot of folks who are now having to go and face these contempt charges regardless. One of them being Peter Navarro. I've known Peter Navarro for a long time, mainly because he was one of the canaries in the coal mine, so to speak, on the Chinese Communist Party manipulating global economies. He did the book and movie Death by China, which and this was long before he was part of the Trump team. I highly recommend watching it. It's still very relevant in terms of how the CCP messes with currency. They call currency manipulation. It gives a very clear picture of how the CCP does it. I believe if you have Amazon Prime, I'm pretty sure it's there for free or it's very cheap. It's one of the two. It's also a very good book called Death by China. But he was one of the first guys, or one of the big guys announced for the Trump team, and I remember when he got on the team, I was like, hey, they're letting Peter Navarro on. They must be getting serious on China. That was my first thought. Now, Peter Navarro, of course, was supposed to appear before Congress to testify on the J6 stuff. He refused, as did a lot of people. Steve Bannon also refused, notably. You had a lot of them said, I'm not going to do it. This is a total sham thing. It shouldn't even be illegal, because of the ways that they made it they made it partisan. You're not really able to do that. They rejected the Republican nominees for that committee. Nancy Pelosi handpicked two, Republican in name only. They were people who voted with the Democrats to impeach Trump. And so they handpicked two people who had voted with them previously, demonstrating the same bias they held on that committee. It was a sham committee. It shouldn't have even been legal what they did, let alone their ability to bring contempt charges. But here we are. Peter Navarro was just found guilty, and they're making some arguments on it. He's not going to be sentenced until January 12th. Things are going to be going through for a while. He's also going to appeal it. He believes it's going to go to the Supreme Court because he's arguing that he would have had executive privilege. We'll see where that goes. They're also trying to get the case thrown out on mistrial because they let the jury out on a break. I believe they deliberated for like 5 hours. They let the jury out on a break. They claim there were protesters outside who would have potentially altered the opinions of the jurors, let's say. Which, you can, especially if they were to have threatened them or whatever else, or if they were to have, given information that would have changed their perspectives. And if you are a juror in a court of law, you're not even supposed to watch news shows on the trial of which you are a juror, because you're supposed to solely look at the evidence on both sides presented in the court. And so protesters and so on tend to cause that problem. One of the reasons why, under normal circumstances, if I understand, there are certain laws restricting protest at courthouses for that reason, if I remember correctly. And so, things just aren't being enforced well. That was one of the big issues that came up, for example, when the Democrats, ironically, were organizing protests against the Supreme Court justices when they were going to rule on Roe v. Wade. Including, ironically, even holding protests and threatening to kill them at their own homes, which I have no idea how that was. I mean, it shouldn't have been allowed. The people who did that, ironically, should be the ones, going to prison for, ironically, the same things they're accusing everybody else of doing. But, here we are. Rule of law is flipped upside down right now. The evil are punished and the good, the evil are awarded and the good are punished. It's the nature of law currently. That being said, we will see what happens to Peter Navarro. I think he has a good shot at appeal. The judge did say that they would consider the mistrial argument if they can provide evidence, video evidence of the protesters outside. The prosecutors claim that the protests were in a place where the jurors were not released at. They claim it was a different place, but afterwards Peter Navarro goes out to give his speech to the press, and there's all those protesters there. So obviously they were there. Although again, they're arguing the protesters were in a different place from when they let the jurors out. We'll see where it goes. Regardless, he is probably right. This probably will eventually go to the Supreme Court, and then we will see what happens. Also, well, I don't know if it's a big update, but an update. Do you remember yesterday, literally yesterday, we had I talked about how it was a Republican Senator J.D. Vance had put forward, legislation that they were, he was trying to get legislation through, essentially, introducing it. They would force Congress to have a vote, and in that vote, they would publicly state whether or not they believe in federal mask mandates. Well, that was shot down already. It was shot down already yesterday. Democrat senator blocked it. That was Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. And there was even a picture allegedly from outside his office where he put this masks required sign. Now, this is suggesting, of course, that Democrats do want to have mask mandates, federal mask mandates. You could argue it wasn't all Democrats, it was Senator Ed Markey. But regardless, there are some who believe in the return of federal mask mandates. This would have, of course, forbidden any government official or any place receiving government funding from enacting mask mandates up until 2024 and after the elections. That has now been shut down by the Democrats. Here we are again, where people are wondering, are they going to do it again? Well, they just might. I'm going to go into one more story, but I want to do a longer Q&A today because today's the last morning live. I know, I'm sorry. Crossroads is going to be going live for the nighttime show starting next week. Long story short, NTD Television, the sister media of Epoch Times, they're, of course, our TV broadcasting network. They have great programming, by the way, if you haven't watched them. NTD Television, they have cable news, and they're doing a 7 to 7 news broadcast. Although I guess it's longer technically because Crossroads is the 7 o'clock slot. So they're going to be broadcasting news all day long. So we're launching essentially a full-fledged news network. Crossroads got the 7 p.m. slot, and so we got prime time, folks. We're going prime time. So you can, of course, watch it still on Epoch TV. You can, of course, join our live chats on Epoch TV. You can also watch it on NTD. You can also watch it on cable. You'll have to check with the local provider where NTD is placed. I believe the website has information on that. But essentially, because I'll be doing a 7 p.m. Live show, and we're going to start with half an hour, gradually increase it, and we're aiming for an hour is the goal. It's just too much for me, to be honest, doing a nighttime show and a morning show, to be totally honest. And because I tend to like writing my own content. For the morning show, I don't really do a script. I have some news clippings, and that's about it. But for the nighttime show, because it's TV, you need to have a script. Although when I'm talking on interviews and stuff, I don't necessarily follow it. You got to keep it natural. You know what I mean? So I like to write my own stuff, So I'm spending most of my days writing and doing research and so on. Anyways, that said, today is the last morning live show. We will be doing, events going forward like Q&As and so on. We'll do some fireside chats on Epoch TV. We'll still do some stuff. It won't be as regular, at least not at first. After I kind of get used to the new cycle of all this, we'll keep things on a more regular schedule. But I'll keep you all updated on that. Again, with work, with life, I tend to look at the long road. In my eyes, I'm kind of just starting still. There's a long road ahead, folks, and so A lot to do, a lot of good stuff in the works, and glad to have you all here with me. That says, jump over to Epoch TV. I want to talk about how Owen Benjamin, one of the InfoWars journalists, he's facing 100, whether you like him or not, right? You know, have your position, but he's facing 120 days in prison for saying things, for speech. He's facing prison for crimes of speech. And this has to do with J6. He did not enter the building. He paraded outside with a megaphone, and they're trying to put him in prison for it. I will explain what this means, why it's significant, because this is the argument against the First Amendment that you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Essentially, that's what this comes down to. A lot of constitutional lawyers, a lot of people who are, free speech absolutists, and a lot of people like myself who just have their own understandings of the Constitution understand that argument is utter nonsense. Yes, you can constitutionally yell fire in a crowded theater. It's an absolutely ridiculous perversion of American law and a slathering of just crud across the Constitution, in my opinion. Now, as a good person, you probably shouldn't do that, but criminal or constitutional violation, nope. We will talk about that. And so join me on Epoch TV. We'll discuss, and then we'll go into questions right after. That said, let me show you a quick ad. We got a sponsor, folks. American Hartford Gold. I'll play that for you. We'll jump over to Epoch TV where we have a 25-cent a week flash sale, and I will see you there.
Experts agree. One of the best ways to protect against financial uncertainty is to diversify your portfolio. Learn how physical gold and silver can secure your retirement funds from today's economic challenges. With a gold IRA from American Hartford Gold, you can safeguard your wealth with no penalties or taxes when you transfer your current qualifying retirement accounts. Call now and our precious metals specialists will send you a free information kit, no cost or obligation. American Hartford Gold, a trusted industry leader with an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, has a 5-star rating from thousands of happy clients. Whether you are getting physical precious metals in a gold IRA or delivered to your doorstep, we offer only the highest quality gold and silver. For your peace of mind, we also offer a no-fee buyback commitment, a low-price guarantee, along with free shipping and free insurance. So don't wait. Call the number on your screen today and secure your financial future.